So, hey guys, this is William today. I got Ben Fisher here. Ben Fisher from and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing SEO since what, 1994?
I'd like to say 96, but technically it was 94.
96? Okay, so 94. And you're probably one of the few that I know that's been doing it for well over 20 years. But what makes you unique as well is you are a diamond product expert with Google My Business or Google Business Profile. So it makes you, in my opinion, unique in that sense. And you deal with a lot of times, from what I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of it is like you're a straight up white hat fighting GMB spam and all that sort of thing. You're the guy that a lot of times I need whenever someone's profile goes down or they're getting negative reviews put on. I generally sometimes I'll tag you or some of the other ones because you will get clients where they'll get negative reviews by people they're just trying to basically, hey, I got negative reviews on here and I'm just trying to get money out of this person.
Oh yeah, there's that.
You get those and stuff like that.
6 months.
And
But yeah, I mean, maps is definitely some of the things that me and my company specialize in. We probably got the reputation of, if you've got a problem you can never think about solving on GBP, you just take it over to these guys. When it comes to reinstatements, we absolutely have the reputation of being the company to go to for a reinstatement if you want it done right. And because, well, beyond being a diamond Google level product expert, guess whose videos on the support page that talks about getting yourself reinstated? Hi. So I guess Google thinks a little bit of us, or me, to be able to put it right on Google, so support.google.com. But yeah, SEO 96, man. Been in and out of this industry quite a lot, and I was in the gaming industry for a little while, but still did SEO there. And before that, enterprise SEO, clients like GoDaddy, for instance. Never heard of those guys. And yeah, actually, very interesting. Like Wix, Cloudflare, all those guys. I knew those guys when they were nothing. They only had a couple of people in their company. Yeah. And but now we focus. Yeah, we're reinstatements, appeals, anything to do with spam. Our success rate's anywhere between 26 to 40%. Yeah, industry average is, I think, 2 to 5, if that. And LSA, we also are extremely good with LSA. Deadly good.
Generally, if people come to us for spam or reinstatements, we don't even bother with it because it's almost nothing that we specialize in. And I can try, but it's like it is so hard, with a lot of people. I don't know the process. I generally tell them, say, here's the names of the people that I would go to inside of the Google community. And yep. I'm not one of them. So, so yeah, you have a reputation. And generally, for instance, if I go in there and I say this is spam, they're not going to listen to me. If Ben Fisher goes in there and says this is spam, they're going to listen to Ben Fisher.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Not perfect.
Yeah, not always perfect. So some questions I would have for you, because you've been in this for a while and you run an agency, or you're a part of it. Do you run the agency or you have an agency? So it's at your actual agency.
Yeah, it's my agency. This one's 13 and a half years old.
Awesome. So in your agency and everything, and it's Steady Demand, a local SEO agency. So y'all do, I'm assuming, just straight local SEO as well.
Yeah, and we also do regular SEO, and we do AI optimization. That's probably the latest thing that we've rolled out.
So when it comes to AI and local SEO, how are you seeing that it's affecting local SEO?
If you take a step back and you look at kind of how we're going to call them the AI engines for now, just because nobody else has a good way of answering this, or answer engines, however you want to call it. Anyway, when you look at what they do at the very simplistic level of them, right? They're prediction machines at the end of the day, right? They're predicting tokens, characters, letters, whatever. And the data that gets spit out really is just a kind of a Frankenstein of the data, which is publicly available on the internet, and whatever can be assumed through basically semantic techniques, right? Because that's really all it is. It's data in, data out, and then semantics laid on top of that. So if you take a look at it from that standpoint, what does it matter? What does it mean to local? What it means to local is that most people are looking for one answer. They don't want 3 answers. They don't want 10 answers. They don't want 1,000 answers, and they don't want a ton of blue links. I want an answer. I want an answer right now. I have a plumbing problem. My plumbing is exploding all over my living room, and my kitchen's flooded. I don't know what's going on. I need somebody out here today that can do it and won't rip me off. That's obviously not the exact type of way of a query, but the concept is there. It's a long query, lots of information, lots of data that doesn't matter, right? But that's how queries are being done. And when it comes to local, we're used to these days now 3 responses, right? Based on nothing. It's just 3 responses. We don't know how they come up with a response. When it comes to the LLMs, now we can kind of see what those responses are. And we can also get some information as to why those are important in the first place, whether they be right or wrong. But we can at least find out. So again, coming back to that full circle, 3 results, great, fantastic. More context, even better. Accurate, sometimes. ChatGPT uses Apple, which is horrible. Of course, Google uses Google. Better, much better. The other thing with AI is, and I'm going to get to the answer to your question in a second, is that if you're doing your searches through AI mode, then you get a much better picture of where things are going. Because AI mode is basically going to become default. You can take this as a prediction by around this time next year. If it's not fully AI mode by this time, it's going to be fully AI mode by Q4. I have this based on information that Googlers have actually told me. And so that should scare the hell out of everybody that's in the local search industry. And the reason why is that as we do get closer and closer and closer to zero-click search, and as AI mode does take over, that means that there are going to be hella horrible ways, or I should say hard ways, to do optimization. Because these days it's easy, right?
Yeah.
Website, citations, links, boom, GBP, you're done. Now it's, what's my reputation? Am I trusted? Am I mentioned in all of these unstructured different ways? Do links count anymore? Does content count? Yes, content counts. Spoiler. Do links count? Probably not. Sorry, link brokers, things like that. So that's really what should terrify everybody is, am I going to be recommended and why not? So what we do is we figure that out. We figure out, A, are you being recommended? If you're being recommended, how are you being recommended? And then why are you being recommended, or why are you not being recommended? And the answer usually comes down, and this is the answer to your question. The answer comes down to trust. Whether it be, and it's not the trust that you and I have, right? Like me trusting you, or you trusting me, or somebody trusting steady demand. That's not that kind of trust, because that's an emotional based trust, right? Based on some logics, but pretty emotional. For an LLM, it's all logic. So the logic basically has to be written and stated in some kind of code somewhere, right? And if we understand that it's basically, in a sense, a binary decision, it's not something that's clouded by emotion at all, then you kind of have to, in a sense, think like Spock, okay? What analytically makes sense for basically, in a sense, a computer to trust you as an entity, your business, yourself? And if you start taking a look and doing certain types of queries, you can figure this out really quick. You can find out what people think about you positively and what people think about you negatively. And if you can explain and or augment those negative things, or God forbid, change your business, right? Which we have a lot of our customers do, by the way. They will radically change their business to solve problems, which is great. It's good for the consumer, right?
Yeah.
But also the reward there is showing up in the LLMs much more prominently. So that's actually the answer to your question.
Yeah, it's kind of where, like, when we do blogs and different things, we do specifically about people also ask, and going after the questions that Google tells you that people are asking about your specific service in your specific area. So it is really, I mean, honestly scary, I think, for business owners and a lot of SEOs, because like the other day I did a video about zero-click search, because it's like it's getting to the point, even with unlike Facebook, they don't want you, obviously they don't want you making money on their platform. They've already they've devalued anybody that has a link inside of a post.
Sure.
So they don't want the reach going out further. And I told them, said the best way I can explain it and see how you can explain it is, like, pretty much they're giving you the answer that you need without ever having to go to your website. A lot of times they're giving you the phone number, etc., and why you're the best choice.
Yep.
So without even looking or seeing any other recommendations. So I just didn't realize it was going to, now what you're saying is by either fourth quarter or beginning of next year it's going to happen. That's even scarier.
Yeah, not beginning. I'd say third, fourth quarter is what you're looking at. Third, fourth quarter. What you also have to worry about is, and this can get into a whole different layer of discussion, so we don't have to dwell here too far. But that is if you combine AI answer engines, whatever you want to call them, with wearables, it gets worse. And I mean, worse, meaning like you have more work to do, or at least things to figure out. Because now you're getting to a situation where zero-click is the reality.
Yeah.
You know, have you tried any wearables yet?
No.
No? Okay. I do. I have Metas. I had the Gen 1. I've got the Gen 2. I'm about to get the Gen 3 when they come out fully. Gen 3 is probably going to be the scariest of all of them for our industry, because it has a 300 by 300 DPI pixel, 3000 by 3000 pixel window, web browsing window. Okay. So you're going to be able to see a browser. You're going to be able to see all your text. You're going to be able to see driving directions. All of this is going to be visible within your field of view. So you can almost see yourself, say, walking down the streets of San Diego. You're at a convention, and you're like, "Hey, Meta, what's the best, pizza place around here that serves it with pineapple? I really don't want any, sausage on it. I am looking for a thick crust, though. So if there's Sicilians around here, let me know." And it tells you, yeah, go up the street, make a left, make a right, and it'll be on your left-hand side. You're looking for Scotty's Pizza. Would you like to hear about the reviews that Scotty has had?
See, that application of it, to me, makes it fun and cool. The application that doesn't make it fun and cool is the browsers on the internet. To me, I go, yeah, I could definitely use that on your glasses or your wearables and stuff, and be like, that would just be like, that's a whole nother, sci-fi. It's like me and my wife were watching a movie yesterday. We're like, what's crazy is this is happening in a movie, and it's going to wind up happening in the future.
Minority Report is not strange or far away. I don't mean the whole prediction of crime, although that's a possibility. Yeah. But I'm talking more like, the scenes where he's running through Japan or whatever, and the advertisements are talking to him saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah blah blah. Right. It's just personalized.
It's crazy.
That is not really far-fetched to think about.
Like we were watching, even some of the stuff I see, like over in like China, where they're having cars they have, in different places that have no drivers.
Yeah.
No need. It's like, and now we go, well, that's not a big deal. Well, yeah, it was a big freaking deal like 20 years ago. It was in movies not too long ago, and everybody was saying, yeah, that'll never happen. And now it's happening.
Johnny Cab.
It's crazy to me. But this is probably the one question I'd say for SEOs and business owners, but would be, what do you think is the biggest misconception businesses have about Google business profiles or GMB?
Well, the biggest misconception that people have is it's a set it and forget it type of system, right? Also, by the way, anytime somebody says GMB, you have to reach out and slap someone. I'm just saying. It's only
Yeah,
been 3 years.
I'm so used to calling it GMB as like I got GBP.
Trust me, man. I've seen this dance many times. Really, I'll just give you the prediction.
Yeah.
Every 4 to 5 years, they change the name. So get ready, it's coming.
I have people say you need to start calling it GBP, and I'm like, why? I've been calling it this forever.
Exactly.
You know?
But to answer your question, it's set and forget it. The other biggest, meaning that you go in, you do your optimization, quote unquote, once and you're done, right? You leave. That's how most people do treat it. The management of your GBP is important. And this is also something I clarified with a Googler. There's benefits to working together with Google, right? So, and that is that in a sense, you can kind of look at your GBP as almost like a general ledger, right? And it is a centralized focus actually for AI search engines because it is true, quote unquote, true empirical data, right? Data that is usually governed by the merchant and provides value to the consumer. If everything is balanced out properly in the system, we're not going to get into the bad things there for the moment. Let's assume everything's pristine, right? So given that fact, that basically means that in a way, your GBP starts to become the source of truth, right? And that can get scary in multiple ways. But anyway, regardless of that, you should always be on top of your GBP. You should always be looking out for new categories, constantly surveying your competitors, seeing what they're doing, looking at new features that are coming into GBP. Examples, just last week, are you familiar with the updates that happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so GBP now has a connector into Gemini.
Yeah.
So you can update, you can query against, you can do whatever you want with your GBP in Gemini now. Just connect it, and then you can say, look at my reviews. How can I improve my business? Or, I want to know what my competitors are up to. Who's got their hours open after me? Oh, great, fantastic. Can you change my hours, please? Right? You can do all of this in Gemini now.
So for me, I mean, I've always kind of felt this way, but maybe, I mean, obviously, if it's coming from you, then I felt wrong. But in my opinion, so typically, I would say if you're opening up a Google business, I mean, y'all are experts with this part, but you open up a Google business profile or whatever you wish to call it, and a marker, in my opinion, has always been you shouldn't go in there and start optimizing it and doing a bunch of shit that a marketer would normally do.
So,
because generally Google knows that a business owner is not that type of person. You're not going to go in there and just start optimizing a bunch of shit and doing all that shit. And generally what happens, what I've seen, someone gets a brand new Google business profile set up and they go in there, not us, but they go in there and they start editing stuff or adding services and adding images, etc. And they'll get flagged for verification.
All right, so let's talk about this really quick because this is an important topic. You have to understand how Google looks at things. And when you understand how Google looks at things, that kind of makes things like this kind of go away or become a little bit more crystal clear. Google has to protect the integrity of their system. And what I mean by protecting the integrity of the system is making sure that the data is validated and correct for the target audience, the consumer. Now, when you set up a new GBP, they want you to make sure that the information is correct and they want you to make edits. However, again, how they view things. So they want you to be engaged, right? But at the same time, there is a large percentage of people who open GBPs for fake and or fraudulent means, spammers, right? Lead gen, whatever the case may be. Business owners who don't know any better is a large portion of these, by the way. They just say, oh, well, my competitor is doing that. I can do it too. One of the biggest misconceptions, by the way, also is that I can just do it because my competitor does it. No, you're a unique snowflake. End of story. Done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Fight Club said it best, right? You're a unique snowflake. Anyway, so my point there is no, they want you to do the changes. They want you to make them. What they don't tell you is don't make them fast. Don't make them at the same time.
Yeah. So
They don't.
define fast. Like I got a brand new Google business profile set up and I want to add, I got 10 different services. Should I do
Yep.
that in a week? Should I do it in a day? Should I do it in a month?
Services won't matter.
Okay.
The problem is that most merchants, what they do is they start going in and changing everything at once. They add something to their name. They change their hours. They change their URL. They change the category. All of these are red flags.
Doing all that crap at once, not really services or products.
Yeah, but it's all red flags.
Yeah.
Because you change your name. Oh, wait, you just changed your business name 24 hours later? I don't think so. Yes, re-verify. Oh, wait a minute. You changed your primary category from garage door to ice cream shop? Okay, yeah. Why we need to re-verify? You just changed your business. Oh, wait, you added an address. Now you've removed it. You're changing your business model all of a sudden? Oh, you had a phone number. Now you're changing it to a virtual phone number. Why are you doing that? So if you think about the way that black hat people do work, right, is that they usually don't pay attention to a lot of these little details.
Yeah.
They're just kind of rapid firing things. They actually, most of them, what they'll do, and there's no way for you or anybody to really know this, but is they'll write applications or programs that'll say cycle a phone number in and out of a GBP to try and force verification. Okay. Because sometimes you can run into a magic phone number that'll automatically verify a GBP. It used to work that way, and it used to be a technique. Back in the day when we were hunting down lead gen farms, of 50 to 100,000 GBPs, they were using this exact technique. They would put in a Twilio phone number, try to force a phone code verification. If it didn't work, swap in another, rinse and repeat until it worked. This killed the feature, basically. So every time you add a phone number, they have some logic on the back end combating the fact that you might be a scammer. And so that's why I say slow. Slow wins the race. My rule of thumb is you make an edit, you wait until the edit is approved. And you don't do anything else until it's approved, then you move on. And you do so very slowly is the answer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always kind of explained it too, is like, think of Google Business Profile as like they pull the information from data centers. And if the data centers have your phone number being a such and such phone number or such and such address, and you change it on your Google Business Profile and they can't verify it, then it's going to throw up red flags.
Yeah, it can. Absolutely.
That sort of thing.
That's why citation services are actually very valuable. It's not because they get good links. It's not because they give you good juice for SEO. It's because your data is consistent.
That's what I've told. I was like, for example, if you have a citation service, Bright Local or any of them, it winds up, it's like, I can go in there and I can manage all of it from one spot versus I'm having to pay someone and they have to have all the login information and go in and manually do it all. So
pluses and negatives to both sides of that equation. We include a Yext replacement service inside of all of our plans for free, actually.
Awesome.
Because we have to.
So because you run an agency, you have a unique viewpoint as well. I would think it's like you got the viewpoint of yes, you're inside of Google, but then you can actually test things and see what's actually working versus what's not working.
Yep.
Because I know in a lot of SEO groups, you get a lot of guys that come in there and say a whole lot of shit that doesn't actually work. Even though they'll say it worked because it worked across 4 different people, but that's much different than working with 10 or 20, or in your case, seeing hundreds, I can imagine, of GMBs and Google Business Profile issues every single day, which I can't even fathom, how you manage it, because I've had a team of 80 and I have a team of 14 now. How do you it's like, how do you manage volunteer? It's like, this is not a paid service. You're volunteering, you work inside of Google in that sense. and you run an agency,
Mhm.
you know, how do you manage that? You know, I just,
So I've been a product expert for over 10 years.
yeah.
I am also one of the leading mentors, I guess you could call it, in the program. I won a mentorship award one day a long time ago. And what I tell all my mentees is very simple. You know, you're there to help, of course, right? And you can only help so many people. And I told them to spend about half an hour in the morning, maybe half an hour in the evening max.
Awesome.
So it's outside of my day, quote unquote,
So you
job.
do basically you time block. This is
Oh,
the time that I'm going to manage with this and this versus everything else. Yeah.
yeah, everybody, a lot of people, they'll try to do it all day long. They get burnt out. They don't last in the program very long,
I
um,
imagine.
because they get burnt out. You know, it's a really simple equation because it's highly emotional, when you're dealing with people inside the community. You know, because it's a one-way communication system. You know, I mean, it's text, 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 text. You know, there's a lot of different personalities you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who, are, just to be honest with you, they're peepholes. You know what I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
And but for good reason, because they don't have any support from Google, and you know they feel like their livelihood is on the line, which in a way it is, right? Um, you know, so anyway, but yes, you have to be able to disconnect from it, and get back to your regular life. To answer your other question, it's like, okay, so yes, we have quite a few thousand customers actually. We have 16 people on our team, but we also do all of our own programming in house. So everything, a single time that there's a situation or something like that, we learn from it, we program around it.
So your team is all in house.
Yeah.
That is like, 'cause
Well, they're
that,
distributed.
yeah,
Distributed.
no, but I understand what you mean. But most people, it's like they outsource, and
No.
generally they have no. They run an agent. They say they run an agency, and most of the time, all they are is good sales guys, and sell SEO. And then
Sure.
they outsource it, which I have no problem with because they outsource this to generally where we're located, which is Philippines or India or wherever. But the thing is, most of them are just really good at sales. It's very rare to come across an agency that actually has in-house team like
Yeah.
that, and y'all are doing your own programming and testing and everything else. You don't know how rare to me that is. Every time I talk to an agency, no, they always outsource stuff like that.
To be fair, it's like, I mean, I've been doing this for a really long time, man. I've been self-employed since I was 18 years old. And I do a lot of coaching and mentoring and all that kind of stuff with businesses and agencies, and I see it all the time. And you're right. It's like the skill set is I am the owner. I'm good at what I do. Shit, I have a little bit more work than I can handle myself.
Yep.
You know, so what am I going to do? I'm going to sub it out, right? And hope that the job gets done. And yes, they will sub it out to your Philippines, Singapore, wherever, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that, with that, while you get savings, you lose so much. You really do. Because are you going to put one of your contractors who barely can speak a lick of English on the phone with a customer? Even if you have one that speaks English well, you know, still they're going to get the sense. They're going to be like, "Oh shit, I'm talking to somebody overseas."
Yeah.
You know,
Like my son who works in our company, he's the customer service rep. He's the one that does the onboarding, customer service, everything like that. So,
yeah.
and in our office, we have an English only policy. So,
Well, we won't do it because the other thing is that, and this is really more important on the SEO side.
yeah,
You have there is a language barrier whether they speak the language or not.
yeah,
They're not going to know the difference between a plumber here and a plumber there.
yeah,
So a plumber there might have different challenges, especially in India, than they would in the United States, right? You wouldn't understand the complexity and how they do marketing, how they handle their employees, things of that nature. You just can't because you're in another country,
yeah.
you know. Just like how we can't fathom how things work in India,
No,
you know. And I've had discussions with people who live in India. and because I mean a lot of Googlers are Indian, right?
Yeah.
And so I've had discussions with them. They're like, no, you guys have it bass backwards out there, That's what they'll say
Right.
about
Even knowing the niche, even though, and I tell people, like, for instance, legal or law, SEO, law marketing can range. You got different laws that will apply in the city that won't apply in the county, won't apply in different laws from state to state. So a lot of times, like, that's one of the niches. Like, for example, I will not touch is generally going to be legal.
Hmm.
Only because of that. And it's just, to me, I just don't want to mess with it.
Sure.
And then medical, but medical is what I originally got started. One of the ones I originally got started in really was medical, and HIPAA compliance and stuff like that. So,
Very familiar with it, man. Very familiar.
but yeah,
Yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, but that is also why a lot of agencies are small, 1 to 2 man shops, right?
yeah,
And a lot of them go out of business, or they try to do everything, and they do everything equally as bad.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
try to make ends meet, and then try to do a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times I tell people in SEO, the main problem a lot of times is there's no barrier to entry, so anybody can do SEO. And therefore, and a lot of what happens is you're in a third world country. Therefore, someone wants to do it so they can make ends meet, so they can make a buck. And a lot of times you'll see in the SEO groups too, you'll see them come in there and say, I got a new SEO client. How do I get them on the top 3 of Google? It's like, well, you should have probably learned that before you got the client.
Yeah.
But because you do mentorship, I want to hit on this too, is for someone that's wanting to become a local SEO expert or wherever they wish to call themselves, what should they do first? What should someone master first when they first come into local SEO?
Reading. It's reading, man.
Yeah.
So I say this to everybody, and give a little context personally. I've started, I don't know, 10 companies in my lifetime, right? Maybe more if you account for failures. And all of the successful businesses that I've had have been agencies that I started where I had no knowledge about what I was doing. Zero. The only thing I saw was a demand, right? And okay, well, how can I work into this demand? So yeah, when I first started my first SEO agency back in the 90s, dude, I didn't know a damn thing about SEO or websites. Mozilla Gold 1.1, man. Yay. Front page. Extensions are awesome. No, they're not, or they weren't. Anyway, so, but what I say is read. That's step one, right? Read as much as you can. This is why getting involved in the community, which Google Business Profile is so important, or at least for me it was, is because that's where I learned so much about GBP and just local in general. The next thing is basically forming connections with people that not only will you personally like, but also somebody that you can mentor you and that you can give value to at the same time. A lot of people, what they'll do is they try to cozy up to an influencer or somebody who knows what, at the top of the food thing, just to pick their brain and get information. That's not the way you do things. The way you do things is like I have people who stalk me, I say stalk, by the way, in the nicest terms, but stalk me in and they watch all my webinars, they read everything I write, they read my social media posts, and then they'll reach out to me. And then they won't use the canned, hey, I read this and you're awesome, or anything like that. They'll just say, hey, can we get together for 30 minutes? I mean, I'd love to just talk to you a little bit about, agency or local or something like that. Or get me onto a webinar, do that too. And then actually try to form an actual relationship, right? Instead of just, hey, what can you do for me now? And so start doing that. And when I was when I was started to get into local, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody, Only thing I did was I raised a problem that I had in the community at that time to fix a customer suspension. And I ran into a very big issue that attracted, Joy Hawkins to my cause. And then Mark Blumenthal as well. and then Linda McKay, who ran the local search forum, and they all kind of jumped in and helped out. And so I got to know them, and I got to know the program, and I got to know GBP and all of that. And Joy and Mike and Linda were all immediately available anytime I had some questions, and so we made friends, made relationships out of it. So read a lot, comprehend it. Second, make some relationships with people that you will actually enjoy talking to, because otherwise it's going to be disingenuous. Yes. And then start doing. I don't care if you have to give something away for free. By the way, I don't recommend that. I never recommend free because it cheapens you, and there's nowhere to go from there from free, right? Correct. So, but start out, doing some projects. But don't only do a project, test. Do a shit ton of testing. Not just on 1, not just on 2, not just on 4, 10. 10's always a great number, and set up your A/B testing. Do some research. Find out how the best way to do testing is. Use ChatGPT. It will tell you, really well how to do it. And test in a vacuum, more importantly. The bros that you're talking about, on Facebook are all, I did it once and it worked bros, right? So it must be awesome. But what they don't tell you is that all of the 50 other things that they're doing with that same SEO profile or website.
So I tell people that all the time. They're telling this CTR method works or whatever. I'm telling them, so what you don't understand is the same person is doing 50 other fucking things.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're not telling you about all the other things they're doing. They're just saying that so then they can turn around and sell some course to you. And you, like the fool you are, is going to turn around and buy it because you got Mr. Shiny Object Syndrome.
Right.
You want a quick fix instead of building your reputation and doing all the stuff that you used to do. And yes, this comes from someone that used to spam fucking Google, and I used to do Black Hat and all that other crap and stuff like that. I don't do it. So, and I'm telling you, if I'm telling you, there's a reason I'm telling you. For instance, I want to buy reviews. Okay, buy reviews, but guess what's going to happen? Google's already been doing it, and I have the screenshots where they're saying you left fucking, you go to leave a review on one of these things, and guess what? They show you, hey, this profile's been caught using negative bot reviews and shit like that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man. I'm going to be speaking at Local U in October in Dallas, and I'm going to be going over GBP horror stories. And one of those is that, and again, the bros out there, yay guys, girls, is that they were talked into getting a review forcibly removed through engagement tactics, basically brute force, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They got that review removed. They also lost the ability to get new reviews and reply to reviews, and they got the badge of shame. Immediately. They were locked out for 8 months.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it. You're talking about engagement tactics. I've talked to Google about this. Those guys who like to do pogo sticking and linking to your GBP and clicking on your GBP for directions and like, oh, it works. Bullshit, man. It works for like 72 hours and it fades. So if you don't keep it up, Google can see the engagement.
The same thing I tell them is that it'll work as long as you keep paying for it. Because I've tested some of them and said, I bought the service, tested the service, and guess what happens as soon as you stop the service?
Yeah.
It's like,
and Google will suspend you.
Yeah. And it's like, and if you do stupid, you're going to wind up getting suspended a lot of times or penalized and stuff like that. So I tell people all the time, I said, if I could change things I did, let's say 6 years ago, I said I would. I said, but lesson learned. And but you live and you learn. So
exactly. Well, and you know what? We hinted at this a little bit earlier, but I'll tell you what the really, really, really the fact is with the SEO business and agencies, right? Just from doing this for 30 years, man. And I warn clients about these things. And that is the dirty secret about the SEO industry is that it is fueled by ignorance. And what I mean by that is everybody knows they need the service, but they don't know who to trust or what to trust.
Yeah.
So what has evolved in this industry again over the last 30 years is a series of good misinformation. Let me give you these terms that you'll never understand. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to make one up. Let's call it Google stacking.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever. It's BS. It's all BS. Let's slam EXIF data into our images. That'll work, or whatever. Anyway, the terms are meant to confuse the customer because the customer doesn't have the time to research it. They don't have the customer time to test it. They don't have the time to ask anybody about it. They don't know who to ask in the first place because they don't understand it themselves. All they hear is some guy saying, do blah, 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 yada, 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 and it'll do blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Right? You've seen that Seinfeld episode, I hope. Anyway, but seriously, so they do that, and then they lay on top of all of that a retainer, which you must keep for up to 12 months at the minimum, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because SEO takes a long time.
Yeah.
So let me set you up for the second failure, which is SEO takes a long time. What's a long time? I don't know. It just takes a long time. What's your average results? 6 months, a year, 2 years, something like that. Okay, I'm okay with that. It's all BS. Every little bit of it. They front load their work so that way they get early returns, and then they drip out the rest over time. Why? They're working on other people that they're front loading. Kind of like MLMs, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then beyond that is the reports that they give customers are basically just an output of SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever. So guess what? Those are meant for agencies. They're not meant for consumers.
Yeah.
And so when a consumer or a merchant looks at those, they go, well, I don't.
Confusing as shit.
What am I paying for?
Yeah.
And they don't ask for that question for 6 to 8 months because they've been told it takes a long time, which in some cases it does. That's true. But anyway, so my point is a large portion of the industry is built on deceit. There are a lot of good players out there, however. That is very true. I'm fortunate to know quite a few of them, but unfortunately the majority out there is, like I said, based on deceit.
It's like I actually just had another interview with someone else. It's like he deals with he has clients that will come to him and generally to clean up someone else's mess. Generally, for example, you get locked into a 12-month contract and then you are not seeing results. And I'm not talking about someone that charges like a few $1,000s. I'm talking about someone that charges $10,000 or more a month.
Yep.
And then they get locked into stuff and then they don't know how to deal with it. And they've lost so much money and everything else, but then they signed a contract that says nothing about how they're tracking results or anything like that. So, but we do month to month. So I never have done long-term contracts. So
same. We do month to month.
I don't want to keep around somebody that maybe I don't like or they don't like me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, if it's not working, it's not working. I mean, we have we're pretty well known for our local services ads that we do. And we've got quite a few good moats there, actually, of things that other agencies don't have. But even with that, it's like, we tell our customers straight up. It's like, look, if in month 2 things don't look better, we're going to fire you before you fire us. Because we'll also know that it's not working too based on other factors. But it's like, why bill somebody if you're not doing the work?
Correct. So, I mean, you also do LSA ads and service or local service area ads.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say that is different? Because I do have people ask me all the time, do Google ads, running Google ads, and I know you probably have heard this one, do running Google ads and local service area ads affect rankings at all?
No.
Yeah.
There's only one.
If I spend money with Google, are they going to rank me higher?
No. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do that, right? But no, I mean, people ask me that all the time. It's like, what else is going to impact ranking? Well, I don't know. Why don't you try things? But anyway, Organic SEO. Oh my God, amazing. It impacts ranking.
Yeah.
Do that. But yeah, so yeah. What do you want to do next, man?
No, awesome. I appreciate your time. It took up enough of your time, I think. So
Sorry.
I've learned a lot, quite a bit. I like talking to different people, learning different things from you guys. So I got actually Joy. I'm supposed to have her. I think she's packed through July. So in August, I should be talking to her.
She'll be a treat.
And
She'll
stuff.
be a treat.
We have done I've done SEO conferences over here in the Philippines. So whenever I go to do some again, I might have to hit y'all guys up and stuff.
Absolutely. Be more than down for that.
Yeah, and would love to have you out and stuff because I know you've been doing it for a long time and have a lot of knowledge and stuff. Because a lot of it's like even what you're telling me about the Google with the AI and everything, it confirms a lot of what I think. But it's like I'm not in the in crowd with Google, so I can't really say it. You on the other hand, when you say something like, from inside information that you've heard, it's like, I know you're not bullshitting.
No, it's
The guys on the, if you will, I'm an SEO bro with an SEO course. It's like, yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah, the cool part is that the people that I engage with are not like your standard Mac cuts or anything like that,
Yeah.
where a large part of information was disinformation. We work with the program directors and the programmers actually over at not the programmers but the project managers very directly. And actually there's quite a few little features that are in GBP that you can attribute to people like myself and Joy and such like.
Yeah, I see they just brought messaging back too.
Yeah. They've been talking about that internally for a little while. GBP and analytics, that is something I have been fighting for 6 years.
Yeah.
And they finally launched it, and I'm very happy.
Awesome.
So, yeah, every time I go to the HQ and they sit down and they ask us one question, they go, what if there's one thing you would like to add to GBP that does not exist? And I always say, Google Analytics integration so we can see conversions. Period. End of story.
Yeah, the conversions aspect of it. When you go to give, this is the part. It's like, so an agency gives them SEMrush and everything else. In your agency, what do you give as measurables for a client when they want to say, okay, we hired you at steady demand. How do we know we're getting a return on our investment?
So we do the standard, of course, right? Ranking, impressions, yada yada, all of that standard bullshit. Really is because it is, right? At the end of the day, it is. But our customers are trained over the past 20, 30 years to look at these things. So it's very difficult to get them away from it. What we try to do is we try to educate our customers on looking at form conversions, look at phone calls, get a call tracking number, get GA4 set up properly, things like that. So that way they can take a look at it and say, okay, well, since you guys are the only activity that's running through, say, this phone number or this specific form field or something of that nature, we can attribute basically, an X percentage lift, based on, what we've done. Some customers are just focused on ranking. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do to talk them away from it either, because they feel like they're right.
And that's when we get, it's like, if I'm in the top 3, am I going to just start getting hundreds of leads a month?
Right.
It's like, no.
Not necessarily.
It's the only thing you're doing. Are you also doing any social media management or any ads or anything like that? And generally, they want SEO to be the end all be all. And I still will not. I don't think SEO is the end all be all. Never has been, never will be.
I recommend to our customers, especially in the service industry, it's like get a truck, drive it around, advertise locally, advertise in your newspaper, advertise on radio, do something, knock on doors, whatever you have to do. If you just rely on Google, you are relying on 90% of your revenue being nuked.
Yes,
because that is the fact, is the reality. Between LSA and GBP, that's 90% of your revenue in most cases.
Yeah.
So when they go down, they go down. Takes your business down. You don't have another plan.
they generally, if they go into re-verification or anything like that, they're like, this is my livelihood.
Right.
We just onboarded another client today, and he was like, I'm hoping it works because I've been with 6 people and it has not worked. So, but we'll do our best to do what we normally do. So it's the only thing I can say, but I can't promise miracles either. So
Exactly. No, you definitely can't promise miracles.
but yeah, appreciate your time, Ben, and I'm glad to talk to you, and hopefully have you on again, but or even have you out for a conference wherever we do it. We're just getting restarted up and stuff over here. So
Sure. Yeah.
we're going to do one in Cebu. Have you ever been to the Philippines or no?
I have not. It's a place I've looked at though.
Yeah, it's like the #1 place most people move or retire. So obviously money goes further, but
I thought about it just because, of course, it's also a beautiful area. And on top of all that, right? It's like I even thought about Bali. But then again, I also thought about like being like you are, 3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah. So the main thing is if you're going to talk to clients and stuff, it's like you have to, especially in the USA, it's like I have to be up generally from, which I'm fine with this, but 8 p.m. until about 8 a.m. And I will schedule my time, and then during the day yeah, but it's like I used to, I went from, in the past year, I went from, let's say 159 kilos to about 111 right now. But I work out, when I work out, I'll work out anywhere from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Wow.
If I'm not on calls, because I actually enjoy it working out during the morning versus during the day and stuff. Although I used to work out during the day, but
right on. There's nobody in the gym, right?
Yeah, nobody in the gym.
Literally.
So maybe one other person. That's generally my son. So
right on, man. Right on.
But
Well,
I
cool.
appreciate it. Thank you so much, brother. And once I get this up, I will send it over to you, and I'll tag you in it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.